This is the White Horse Inn, established in 1762, one of 4 buildings that are still standing in the Morlatton village. During the Revolutionary War, the White Horse Tavern was a mustering place for the Continental levies. Later, sheriff sales, election parties, and meetings of the Society for the Prevention of Horse Thievery were also held at this stagecoach stop. In family history, the first person to utilize the property as a public house location was Marcus Hulling. Hulling, a Swedish Indian trader, was married to Monsey Jones's daughter, Margaret. Marcus Hulling lived from 1687 to 1757 and is buried in the St. Gabriel's churchyard. Hulling was a well-known Indian interpreter and a man of great wealth. He was a vestryman at St. Gabriel's Church in 1753. Perhaps due to his association with the tavern, Hulling was very active in the 1730s and 40s in seeking roads through petition. In 1744, Hulling signed the petition which created Amity Township. This inn would have been well known since it was a day's journey from Philadelphia and located near ford of the river. The White Horse was Ole Valley's first house for public entertainment and accommodation. After the covered bridge was built, the White Horse's business declined because traffic began to bypass its location and people began to use the Black Horse Tavern, present-day Douglasville Hotel. During its existence, the tavern housed many notable people. George Washington visited the property twice. On November 10, 1793, during an inspection tour of Reading in the aftermath of the yellow fever epidemic, he stopped at the inn. Washington was riding a Rappahannock mare and was traveling with his secretary and nephew, Bartholomew Dandridge. In addition to inspecting Reading as a temporary capital location, Washington took the opportunity to view the Union Canal, which was being built at the time. Washington also stopped here again in 1794, going west to suppress the Whiskey Rebellion. Sometime around 1727, Marcus Hulling constructed the first inn building. A 1727 map shows not only the inn, but also Marcus Hulling's house situated right on the river, similar to the location of Mons Jones' house. The current structure is one of the Georgian style, and its principal facade is constructed of coursed, dressed sandstone. The remaining 3 facades are also constructed of sandstone, but they're not dressed. The original section of the structure was the eastern section and was of the double cell type. This section consisted of 2 rooms on each floor. Today, this section includes the main entrance room, the meeting room, and the office and storage rooms on the 2nd floor. Around 1762, George Douglas enlarged the structure to the west. Douglas's addition consisted of 1 room on the 1st floor with 2 rooms above. Today, this would include the tap room and the caretaker's apartment on the 2nd floor. The western door opened into the bar, and the eastern door opened into a women's sitting room in the 18th century. If a woman wanted a drink and were accompanied by a man, the man would have to bring them drinks from the tap room. This is the Mons Jones house, one of 4 buildings still standing in the Morlatton village. It is also made out of sandstone, much like the others. Mons Jones was born in 1663 and eventually settled on the land he acquired from his father and built a modest stone dwelling. He married Ingeborg Lakin around 1690 at Gloria Dei Church. Their known children were Margaret, Peter, Christina, Jonas, Andrew, and Brigitta. When he moved to present-day Berks County, Mons Jones deeded the stone house he had built in West Philadelphia to his son-in-law Frederick Schoppenhausen, which was later incorporated into John Bartram's garden. The Jones family was one of 4 large families which settled together in the Ole Valley. The Swedish enclave, which arose in southeastern Berks County, was mostly related to Jones through either blood or marriage. Mons Jones died in 1727 and is buried in the St. Gabriel's churchyard in Douglasville, Pennsylvania. In 1735, Brigitte Hulling, granddaughter of Mons Jones, married William Bird of Hopewell Furnace fame. Andrew Jones, son of Mons, married Dorothy Gauther in 1736. John Curlin, a later owner of the property, was living in Morlatton region by 1754. John and his wife Elizabeth have a son named Samuel in 1762. Also, Curlin was a vestryman at St. Gabriel's Church from 1763 to 1767. The late 18th century and early 19th century history of the property is directly related to the Douglas family. While exploring the Mons Jones house, We discovered that they're doing an archaeological dig, which shows that there's still restorations going on in trying to find out the history of this building. This is the fisherman's house, which was the home of the custodian and tollkeeper of the double-lane Douglasville covered bridge. It is also made of undressed sandstone, much like the other facades in Morlatton Village. The ford, which was located slightly upriver from this location, was used until 1832 when the bridge was up. Across the river and half a mile down from here was Thomas Millard's grist mill. In operation by 1713, it was the only one that serviced the Ole Valley region for several years. Since a grist mill was located so close to the ford, the area was a popular crossing spot. Eventually, the property became the home of the custodian and tollkeeper of the double-lane covered bridge, which crossed the Schuylkill River at this location. It was the job of the custodian to light and hang lanterns on each end of the bridge, and in winter to shovel the snow into the structure so that the sleighs could run more smoothly. The caretaker was paid by the county and was also required to sweep out the interior each night. This is a George Douglas mansion, and it is made out of dressed sandstone, and it is still standing and going under renovation. George Douglas was descended from Scottish nobility and spent his formative years in Salisbury Township in eastern Lancaster County. It is likely he was one of many inn or tavern keepers in the busy county seat and market town, because at the time he bought the White Horse Inn in 1762, he was referred to as innholder. Douglas was 36 years old when he came to Morlatton. During the 1760s, Douglas was active in petitioning for road creation. George Douglas lived from 1726 to 1799, was a Revolutionary War veteran fighting in the battles for Long Island as a captain in the Berks County Militia, and is buried in St. Gabriel's Churchyard. I hope you've enjoyed my tour of the White Horse Inn and Morlatton Village area.